Suzanne Simonim, the youngest daughter in the Simonim household, is sent to a convent by her parents. She is a natural talent for music, and even in her postulancy, her talent is honored in the convent. Suzanne expects her parents to come and get her after her sister is married, but to her disappointment, her family wants her to take the veil and become a nun. Being a nun was never her calling, and she did not want to become one. Everybody tried to convince her to undertake religious probation, but they just couldn't change her mind. Finally, after continuous persuasion from the Mother Superior, the one who treats her kindly and provides her comfort, Suzanne gives in. However, on the day to pronounce her final vows, she couldn't bring herself to declare that she's taking the vows of her own accord and with free will, so the convent sends her back home. At home, her parents, especially her father, are not happy with her arrival. Soon, she finds out that she is an illegitimate child as a result of her mother's extramarital affair, and that her biological father does not even know about her existence. Later that afternoon, Suzanne's mother comes to her and tells her a little about her real father and begs her to take the veil to make up for her sins. Afraid that her mother will come to hate her, she's left with no choice but to accept it. A few days pass by and the news of their family affair is spread. Almost all of the convents have refused to take her in, but Sainte Marie, the one Mother Superior is in, agrees to have her back. The very next day, Suzanne's mother drops her to the convent with the promise that she would visit her. The following days in the convent pass by normally for her, mostly because Mother Superior often provides her with the support she needs. And a few days before she takes her vows, Mother Superior gifts Suzanne her sister's locket. 2 days after the pronouncement of final vows, Suzanne wakes up in the infirmary. She's been unconscious for the past 2 days and has no recollection of taking the vows. Within these days, Sister Christine, a new mother, has been appointed to the convent. When Suzanne inquires about Mother Superior, she gets little to no response from people there. Later, she comes to know that Mother Superior died at the hands of Sister Benedict, a mentally unstable nun. Just hearing this causes her to break down into tears. Now, with the arrival of Sister Christine, things around the convent start to change. Meanwhile, Suzanne's life turns upside down since she starts resisting the newly formed rules of the convent. She's deprived of mail, visits, and confession. Initially, other sisters ignore her and refuse to talk to her, but as days go by, they turn against her and start bullying her. However, it does not stop with that. They don't provide her with proper food, and one day she faints due to malnourishment. The only person who truly cares about her is her friend Sister Ursule. She takes care of Suzanne and feeds her during this time. Later on, after regaining her health, she sneaks out and brings a bottle of ink, a quill, and some papers into her room. She then begins pouring out the story of her life into the papers. The next morning, she's able to hide those papers under the floorboard just a few seconds before Sister Christine enters her room. Straight away, she asks Suzanne to explain about the paper and pen. Suzanne tells her that she's thrown away the paper after scribbling on it. Nevertheless, Sister Christine orders the other 2 sisters to search her room. After not finding anything, she then orders them to strip her naked. The humiliation continues, and then comes the punishment. She's forced to walk through the stairs full of glass shards and then is locked into a solitary cell. Only after she agrees to obey Sister Christine is she let out, and once she is out of the cell, Sister Christine makes her swear not to tell a word about the incident. After that, she informs Suzanne that she'll be singing in Tenebrae in front of the guests. After returning back to her room, she retrieves the hidden papers and continues to write. And the next morning, she believes Sister Ursule can help her seek a lawyer to request to leave the convent, so she entrusts her papers to her. Sister Ursule then promises to talk about the matter with her mother and do everything in her power. On Friday, when Ursule's mother comes to attend the event, she tells the girls that they can expect some response from the lawyer soon. Shortly after that, Paul Manuri, a lawyer, visits Suzanne. He tells her that the annulment of her vows is underway, but the decision is yet to be made. When asked what to do with her written confession, she permits him to do whatever he sees fit. Before bidding her goodbye, Paul promises to write any progress to her. In no time, the news of Suzanne's request to leave the convent reaches the ears of Sister Christine, and she's summoned into her room. There, she shames Suzanne for perjury and for taking the vows lightly. Unable to take it any longer, Suzanne breaks into tears and begs to let her leave repeatedly. Lastly, Sister Christine concludes she's being possessed by evil and even forbids her to pray. Thereafter, she humiliates Suzanne in front of everyone and subjects her to punishment. Suzanne is given thin bedding and is not allowed to wear the nun uniform. and is restricted from entering the chapel for prayer. In addition to this, even her fellow sisters do not lessen their mistreatment towards her. One day, a bishop comes to the convent and questions Suzanne about the state she's in. She honestly answers every query he's thrown at her and describes the horrible things she's been going through. Next, the bishop himself goes to inspect the room Suzanne is living in and sees the terrible state of the room. Witnessing all of this, he deems Sister Christine not worthy of her title and warns her to lodge a complaint with His Grace. A couple of days later, Paul again comes to visit Suzanne and asks her if she didn't receive his letter. He informs her that her request has been rejected. From their conversation, she even comes to know that, with the only condition of Ursule agreeing to stop seeing Suzanne ever again, Ursule's mother has done everything within her limits to try to relocate her. However, after some time, Ursule's mother and Paul's efforts pay off when they're able to relocate Suzanne to another convent. Paul personally takes her to their new convent. There, Suzanne is warmly welcomed by the Mother Superior and other sisters. She does not need to worry about nice bedding and proper food in this convent, and Mother Superior takes extra care and liking to her. She shows interest in Suzanne's life back home and openly praises her talent for playing piano and singing. Meanwhile, Sister Therese sees Suzanne as a rival and believes the Mother Superior and Suzanne's closeness to be a threat to her relationship with her. Despite Suzanne's assurance that she's not competing with her, she tells her not to see the Mother Superior frequently. Afterward, when Suzanne is practicing piano, Mother Superior stands beside her and gently caresses her head and shoulder. But just then, unable to withstand the scene, Sister Therese shows up and interrupts her. Even though Therese's conversation with Suzanne does not contain any immediate malicious intent towards the girl, it feels more like a hint of warning for her to be more careful. One day, Mother Superior calls Suzanne into her room and states that she does not love her. Suzanne says that she's not an ungrateful kid to not love her mother and asks her what she must do to prove her love for her. Mother Superior then suggests that she kiss her. Though Suzanne is quite hesitant, she quickly kisses Mother Superior's forehead. This does not satisfy Mother Superior, and she asks to do it one more time. This time, she fondles Suzanne's body, which scares the girl. One evening, when Suzanne is talking about her past, it brings tears to Mother Superior's eyes. Also, a hint of jealousy can be felt in her tone when she comes to know that Suzanne's first Mother Superior holds a special place in her heart. At night, the Mother Superior comes to her room, saying that her story did not let her sleep, and then she hops into her bed. With eyes full of tears, she gets under the blanket and holds Suzanne and asks her to come close. She even takes the chance and kisses Suzanne, but the knock on the door interrupts and she leaves. The next day, the Mother Superior asks Suzanne if she slept well and informs her that she's locked Sister Therese up, but Suzanne asks her not to do that. As Suzanne is leaving, Mother Superior tells her not to mention what happened last night to Father Morante in her confession. However, she does exactly what Mother Superior told her not to do and confesses the weird behavior of Mother Superior towards her and also what had happened the previous night. Hearing this, Father Morante tells her to decline Mother's unusual invitation in the future. Then he instructs her to pray in the chapel all night long. At night, Mother Superior comes and begs her not to ignore her, and also says that the father turns everyone she likes against her. She also adds that he was the one who drove Therese crazy. Nevertheless, the words about Mother Superior spread across the convent, and all the sisters start giving a weird look to her. So, Mother Superior no longer suppresses her obsession for Suzanne and openly approaches her, scaring the girl and crying for help. Eventually, Mother Superior is taken by other sisters into her room, but her obsession has already taken control of her, and her mental state is influenced by it. Afterward, Father Morante comes to see Suzanne and secretly hands her a key to the back door. He tells her that her protector has planned for her escape and that she needs to arrive on the low road at daybreak, where a henchman will be waiting for her. Furthermore, he adds that he owes her a confession and confesses that he did not desire the life he's living and was also coerced like her. So he wishes her to have the life she wanted. As per the instruction from the father, she gets out at daybreak and meets a man who's been waiting for her. He guides her to the wagon where Paul is, and then they set off. In the end, Suzanne wakes up in a huge mansion and goes to explore the house. She sees her manuscript on the table in the living room. As she walks through the door, she sees a huge garden with a water fountain in front of her. But just at that moment, a man appears from the side. This man is Marquis, the son of her biological father. He mentions that their father died shortly after he got a chance to see his daughter. It turns out the lawyer had gone out of his way to find and reach Suzanne's biological father, with whom he planned her escape. And before his death, he lets Suzanne's manuscript be read by his son to give him a heads up